Hello. Hello everyone. Welcome to another event of DSC NIT Rourkela. It's been so long since we had a session. Um, yeah, I hope you all are comfortable in your homes watching it live, or you might be watching this as a recorded session also. Let me give a small introduction about DSC. Like DSC Developer Student Clubs of NIT Rourkela. We are highly skilled people who work constantly to improve the coding culture of our campus. We do activities such as working on projects, hosting sessions like these, and doing workshops which help people so that they can level up and also come up with the industry standards. Today, we would be having a session which is actually two part. The first part would be the Android Study Jam wrap up, the Android Study Jam, which had been facilitated by our awesome facilitator, Chinmay Kavi, which had been happening for the past month. Yeah, first the wrap up would be there, and then we have a couple other people who would be joining for a session of Ask Us Anything on Android development. So, yeah, there is no introduction needed for our facilitator, Chinmay Kabi. He's a really enthusiastic and passionate guy who loves to teach people, and he has been doing a great job so far, conducting sessions for these Android Study Jam sessions. So, I would like to add him to the stage. Hi, Chinmay Kabi.
Hello everyone.
Hello,
So I'm
hello.
Chinmay. I was the
Yes,
is
okay.
the as the Android Study Jam facilitator. We had conducted Study Jam for the month of December, and this is one of its kind actually. This is the first time any club took this initiative of conducting something like this. So we actually had more participation than we had anticipated. So we had more than over 100 registrations in our DSC events platform, and in that we had two tracks. One is new to programming track, and the other was with prior programming experience. So new to programming track was for people who did not know anything about coding. So I instructed them from ground up, right from the very basics of Kotlin to how to just drag and drop the UI, and you can actually get a decent looking app up and running within the first session itself. So as you progress through the tracks, you can actually build pretty sophisticated stuff, some of which even I had to learn for myself to teach the people. Okay, so the Android Study Jam may have concluded with this session, but we also have something called the where you can actually show us the apps that you have made, and we would like to publish it for you, giving you all the due credit. So, if any of you have come up with any app after the Android Study Jam, then please reach out to us.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
So instead of just keeping your app to yourself, if you would have taken the effort to build it all along, so definitely we
yeah,
want
and
people
it
to see that.
doesn't matter how big or small your app is. Okay, so because publishing a app onto the Play Store isn't that cheap, but because we already have our own Play Store license, why not put it to good use, right? By helping the community. So yeah,
So if you guys didn't know about the DSA deploy kit programs, I'll just speak a little about it since it came up. So the DSC deploy kit has two things in its package. One is the free subdomain. For example, if you have some personal project and you want it to be deployed under the subdomain, we are giving away a subdomain for free under dscnetworkilla.org. And the second one in the kit would be the Play Store membership. And yeah, as Chinmay mentioned, it's not cheap to buy Play Store membership. So we are publishing your app to the Play Store, giving full credits. Like it would be your app, it will just be in our account. Since you wouldn't have, like some people might not be able to afford the money, we would be publishing on behalf of you. So that is a goal thing. If you like to have your app published or get your website published under the subdomain, I'll be posting the link to get how to and where to get the deploy kit. And just a small note here, it is only for the students of NIT Rourkela. So if you are an NITR student and you want your app to be published somewhere, feel free to use that kit. And one more thing is, as mentioned, if you are not familiar with this live stream platform which we have built here, we have used the same platform before also for our Hacktoberfest event and also for some of our workshops before. Again, this time we don't disappoint you with the stickers. We have again wrapped this framework with a bunch of stickers. So make sure that you're signed in to the website so that you get badges, and that's how we would know to give you stickers. And not just the badges on the website, we would be shipping you actual stickers. So if you don't want to miss out that, please sign in right away so that you get the sticker shipped to you. Cool. And next I'll be adding Hable Matthew for some
Yeah,
icebreaker.
just one thing I would just like to convey to anyone who is watching this stream. If you have already completed Android Study Jam, uh, and we had actually posted about this in our social media channels, that we'll be actually shipping out stickers for that as well. We'll be sending you goodies for the people who will be making apps and who will be completing Android Study Jam. So if you have completed, just get in touch with us. We'll just verify a few things and we'll get it shipped to you. Okay. I guess we had posted no one, right, Haris?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, some people have actually approached us, like some people have made an app and they have shown it to us, but it's not closed yet. So if you have, then please feel free to get in touch with us.
Yeah, sure. And also, I forgot to tell about one thing. So, if you have your app ready, the best three apps would be getting a GitHub T-shirt for free. So, we would be
Yeah.
giving GitHub coupon code so that you can avail your GitHub T-shirts. So, this is something which you don't want to miss out if you have the app ready. So yeah, actually, you have time until today, I believe, Chinmay. That's about right, right? Since today is the
For,
closing ceremony, for them to submit the app if they have
yeah,
one.
at least showcase the app. It's not necessary if it's ready or not. At least get
Hmm.
in touch with us so that we can get on a call and we can discuss at least. Okay, just
Yeah.
present it to us. It's not necessary that we publish it today, or it's not necessary that it's production ready. Okay, just get in touch with us until today, midnight or late at night. That's fine. Okay, but I think today is the last day. Yeah.
Okay. I've started a small question over here, like which university you guys all are studying from. So let's see which universities you guys are all from.
Yeah, the cool thing is that Android Study Jam was also attended by some people not from NIT Rourkela. Some there were people from Gujarat, there were people from Delhi. So yeah, I had not anticipated that, but cool,
Okay, we have people from NITR, obviously. Cool.
obvious.
Huh. Nice. Six people are from NITR. Okay, cool. So all of you guys, make sure that you sign in because at the end of it, you'll be getting a sticker shipped right to your home. Cool. So great to see people. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Make sure that you signed in so that and stay until the end of the session, or else you wouldn't be getting the badges. Uh, okay, we have somebody from DSC and okay, NSCC. Awesome. Great. Nice. Nice.
DSC NSCC. Okay, DSC NSCC.
Sorry, I meant the DSC. It's the college NSCC. Sorry, my bad.
No, we have actually worked with the NSCC in Winter of Code, right?
Yep,
So
yep,
that's
yep.
a
That's
partnership
about
we
it.
have had. So it's great to see people coming from there.
Okay, sorry about that. That's what's my mom.
Yeah, cool,
Cool.
man.
Cool. Okay. Let's see if there are any more people hopping in.
Or
Yeah,
shall we? Any?
let me add another question quickly. Cool. Yep. Yeah, just one more quick question before we move into the MS. How many of you actually completed it? even though you haven't
And
made an app.
completed we means that completed both the tracks.
Yes.
Okay, not just yeah. If you have completed at least one track, you can write it in the answer if you want. Yeah, but to be eligible for the
Okay, we have
not
mixed
tried to
opinions.
be
Let's
me,
write. Hmm.
not me tried to me. What is like? Is this identity theft or what? Not me.
Okay, we have most people who haven't completed. Okay, we have somebody who has completed one track. That is good. If you have any questions to ask or any feedbacks in general, you can drop in the comments here. We would be answering them to it later or in between whenever we find time. So that is
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. So
Hmm.
anything about us, Android or Android Study Jam or anything. So
Yeah.
we'll slowly transition into the ask us anything, right?
Yeah, sure, sure, sure. Let's
Yeah,
just move ahead.
yeah. I think
Let
we should.
me remove that screen. Okay, cool.
Let's get more
Okay.
people in.
Yes, people I'm
Yeah,
bringing in the folks.
yeah.
Then okay,
Sachin, Ankesh,
awesome. Okay,
Smarky.
we have the entire Android team of DSC here. Like, I don't think there is a question which can be unanswered by the squad over here. So yeah, make sure of this opportunity. I think it would be good if you guys can introduce yourself. Sachin, you can start.
Hey everyone, good evening. Uh, I'm Sachin and I'm from fourth year ceramic engineering and I've been using Android Studio and using Android app development in native for like last 8 or 9 months. So it's been a great way having like using Kotlin and Android together. Yeah, so that's it.
Awesome, awesome. Sachin is having a secret project happening underground which he won't tell us about right now. I'm hoping to
Yeah,
see it
sure.
light of the day one day. Okay. Let's see. Introduce Ankesh. Ankesh here. He doesn't join much events, but here he is. Hi,
Hello
Ankesh.
guys, hi Harish. Hello guys, so this is Ankesh, Ankesh Anku. I have been working on Android and Flutter development from last 3 years, basically from first year only. Uh, till now, uh, I have mostly been working on Flutter, but yeah, I started with native Android, and yeah, that's all.
Okay, Smarak.
Hello everyone, this is Smarak. I'm a Flutter developer. I started with Android development when Kotlin wasn't there back in 2017, and then did some apps in Java. And after that, when I was introduced to Flutter, got into full-time Flutter development. So yeah, that's all about me.
Okay, we also have
Yeah, we
Abel
have
joining us
Abel as
here.
well. Would you like to introduce
Hi,
yourself?
hi everyone. I am Abel. I was the former DSC of our university. I have been using Flutter for some time. You can tell from 2018 onwards to the past few months. In the recent days, I have been more of into a JavaScript person, and I like both world of things, like the web end of things using JavaScript and the Flutter end of things for mobile app development. And it has been a pleasure working with all these awesome people that we have at DSC NIT Rourkela, these awesome developers in the mobile community. And I hope that all the questions that you have, any concerns you have starting off with your journey with mobile app development, can be cleared out so that you can have an awesome experience starting the journey. Because the most difficult part of starting anything is the first few days or the first few steps when you find yourself unknown and you find it difficult for questions to be answered, because wherever you see, you find the terms and terminology is too difficult for you to understand, which is where we come in and we help you out. So if you have any questions, any concerns, feel free to ask it in the chat so that we can have it cleared out and you can have a seamless experiencing getting yourself into a mobile app development stage. And also, just in case some questions are missed out, or if you are not able to see this live, you're seeing this later recorded, you can always reach out to us on any social media platforms or mail for any questions. We'll be always more than happy to help you out with any concerns. And once again, telling about the deploy kit is something which is for all students of NIT Rourkela, irrespective of the fact if or not they did the Android study jump right now or not. Like there are people whom we know who are good at Android app development who did not do the Android study jump because they already had almost all the concepts cleared out. So if you are one of those people, feel free to do develop an app, and if you want it to be showcased and published on Play Store, as long as you are the student of NIT Rourkela, you're always welcome to publish an app to Play Store if you want us to publish. So leverage the opportunity of being a student at NIT Rourkela and do that. And yeah, thank you once again for adding me to the stream and for this wonderful session. I hope we have multiple AMA sessions. Over to the everyone on the stage.
Actually, we have a couple of questions already in the
Nice.
section Q&A. First question is, yeah, it is not related to app dev, but somebody has asked what all have we have to learn for backend web dev. So
Back.
anybody like? I think
Ankes.
okay.
Okay,
Ankes.
so what I will say, if you are going for Android development and you are just starting and need a lighter version of backend, then start with Firebase. Uh, it will give all the features, but you can't go for the whole big thing. Once you are finally ready that no, Firebase is not fulfilling my all the requirements, then you can jump to something like Django or something. Those are lighter, not lighter. Those are full-fledged backend tools, but they are pretty simple for Android developer. So any Android developer can also do those things. And of course, you can deploy on GCP or those three platforms.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
Harish, can you
Yeah,
put
sorry.
Slido in presentation mode?
Sorry, I by mistake sent in that video. I don't know how that happened though. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Next question is okay, this is gonna take a while. Native versus React Native versus Flutter.
Okay, so
Who
I
who
think
who
we
takes
can
which team?
structure.
Yeah, we split the team.
No,
I think
I
Spark
think
will
we
take.
can structure this question pretty well. Okay, so we have Sachin, who is a hardcore Kotlin developer. Okay, he roots for native development. Then there's me and Smarak who root for Flutter, and there's Haris, who is the best, relatively the best web developer right here. Okay, and Ankesh is like he does everything. Okay, so I think we should first start from Sachin. Like, tell us why native.
Okay, so this question is like, what is your target and who are going to develop the app? Say, suppose you are a small team and working on like a big project, so definitely Kotlin will might slow down your project, but it has advantages like it has the compatibility with JVM, like JVM languages like Java. So you will get the all the full fledged library from Java and everything that it has. And also in Kotlin you will get more things like coroutines, view models, dagger hilt, everything that is new to Android you will be getting Kotlin first. So every update gonna hit to first with the native Kotlin and then to Java. So regarding the Kotlin thing, most of the compute intentional task and less of UI as of now, but it is in beta, so it will be like there is this jetpack thing which will be much more like a Flutter thing that will be uh, currently on beta, but it will be sure gonna hit soon. So it is more like a Flutter and it is intensive on the UI, but currently it is much more like a backend thing. So if you need something compute intentional, so you can go with Kotlin. That will be the first choice. So if your team is small and you wanna like build a very much good UI, you should go with Flutter. So I guess Chinmay can answer that part.
Oh, no, actually, I am talking a lot, so I would like Smarak to answer that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
okay. See,
Yeah.
Flutter, it many people get this wrong a lot of times about Flutter, that Flutter is an app development framework, like a full-fledged app development framework. You can build full-fledged apps with Flutter, but in the end, Flutter is a UI framework. So if you want good UI, if you want to build apps within less time, and if you want the apps to be cross-platform, because Flutter supports Android and iOS right now, and it's gonna support web, desktop, and literally anything where you can have a screen. So if you want that, you definitely choose Flutter. And if like you are as Sachin said, if you are on a small team, you are a single developer working to make an app within a small time frame, so Flutter definitely helps with that.
Okay. Who is Team React Native?
I guess you can take
You are team
React
React Native
questions. And
because the only purpose why we go for React Native is to leverage the experience the team has with React already. Okay, otherwise React Native I think is as good as Flutter, so it's a choice of it's an equal choice. But if your team already has good experience with React Native, so the learning curve will be less steep when compared to that. So from the words of
yeah,
web developer.
adding on to it, if someone is already there on the team who is a React developer or maybe a JavaScript developer as well, so you use the same JavaScript code. Like it's not nothing like you have to learn a completely new language or something. You just know
Yeah.
JavaScript and you can use the React Native framework with that.
Yeah, for
So it
most part,
helps.
the code is more or less the same. Okay, so anything,
Yeah, I
and
think
one more
many.
thing I would actually like to add is that most of the apps today we see are not very compute intensive. They just fetch the data, they show the data. Most of the computation is done either in the cloud or somewhere else. Okay, so most of the apps we see, they just show us the data. Okay, and for those kind of things I don't think we need the raw compute power of Kotlin. Okay, why is the colors changing like this?
It's able behind the
Okay,
screen.
so it's like you sometimes you may need a rocket engine. You don't need a rocket engine to power your bike, right? So maybe sometimes I think that Kotlin is an overkill at times, because with Kotlin you have the scope of performance, but I think the development time will be increased, and for some companies which actually need a MVP, which we call the minimum viable product, the prototyping the time that takes for prototyping is much less with Flutter. Okay, so I think that's where a differentiator comes in. Just my 2 cents. Anyone kuch add karega? But this is a debate that is long drawn for over years. This has been going on. Earlier it was React Native versus Native. Now Flutter has joined the party 3 years ago. Okay, so and this is not going to end anytime soon. Okay,
Yeah.
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 So
Since you said
anyone
if
else?
someone wants,
Yeah,
since you
yeah,
said if someone wants to add any of their own advice, that as mentioned by Chinmay, this debates along these lines, like JavaScript versus Python or any of those debates. These debates will never end. The only small tip that I could tell you is that choose the language which your team finds themselves most comfortable with, and the language which is going to solve your problem. The language which you choose does not have to be the world's fastest language, as long as two concerns: the team is comfortable with it and it solves your problem, it's fine. That's the only thing that you should ever be concerned about. You should never be concerned about, is this the most famous thing that is happening in the world? As long as it solves these two problems, you're good to go, because the code is maintained by your team. So a small example could be TypeScript is a really awesome language. But if we at DSN NIT Rourkela build a TypeScript project, we have to think twice before we start it, because not a lot of people know it. So the investment that we have to put to do a TypeScript project is a bit more than doing a JavaScript project, because we have to let the team have the sufficient time to learn it. So that is a choice that you have to make at times on what the team knows and what your product actually wants to have. So make the decision depending on that. So that's all that I would like to say.
Also, I'm not really sure about this factor, but I feel that maybe you could pick a framework or a language which has most of the support that you might need. For example, I've heard Chinmay say that some packages are not yet available in Flutter, like they're still coming. Maybe if that is something which you want to use, and that support is not there in the framework which you're picking, then that won't make sense. Eh? For example, if you're answering a general case, if you want to do ML project, if you want to pick Python as a C++, then Python is a clear winner because it clearly has a lot of packages for that. So what having, I mean, having already existing support, you could maybe choose that as a factor before you pick a technology. Okay. And that's the one of the biggest reason why we go with JavaScript, because there is npm. Npm is a notion. Almost every single thing is available over there. So that is why we do that. Cool. Moving on to next question. Okay, this is answered. Huh. Chinmay, you're the best person for this. Is there any alternative to using Android Studio? It makes my PC slow.
The alternate to Android Studio, it depends. If you're developing native apps, then I think the alternate to one heavy software is another heavy software. You can either go for IntelliJ or Eclipse. Eclipse is not that good. Eclipse used to be the primary IDE until 2015 or around. Back then, Android did not use Gradle for package management, but library management. But since then, since Android Studio has come, it's really heavy. So I don't think there's any. There are ways where you can actually make, but it's not intuitive. You'll have a hard time building. So I would not recommend actually. But if you are on Flutter, the good news is you can use VS Code. Okay, you can configure VS Code. It's very light, way lighter, and it's much more snappier. And there are a lot of extensions or plugins. What do we call them? Extensions, right? VS Code
And
extensions
VS Code
available.
extensions.
Yeah, which will actually aid to your coding experience. Okay, they may be in terms of some snippets or some suggestions or some tests, whatever. But if it's Flutter, then VS Code is the way to go. But for Android Studio, I'm really sorry. For native Android.
Yeah. Okay.
I
Yeah,
think
Adding to
Smarak is
that,
going to take
if
3 minutes to
Smarak,
anyone, yeah, if
Vim,
anyone is interested in Linux or
Bus.
Vim or working from the terminal, you can always do Flutter in Vim. Like it has got sufficient support to get everything working. Like you have all the language server features. You get everything that you expect from an IDE inside the terminal. So this is the lightest option out there. You can theoretically build native Android from using terminal and Vim only as well, but you will have to configure a lot of things yourself and figure out how to do that yourself, because it's not like there are a lot of plugins which help you around that. So yeah.
Okay, okay, cool. Okay, moving on to the next question. I think there isn't much alternative to Android
Yeah,
Studio.
yeah. One thing, if your
Okay.
question we have already ticked off like how it's answered, but you are not satisfied with the answer, feel free to rant in the question section. Okay, we'll take that up as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure, definitely. Open for criticism. Thank you. This is a pretty nice feedback. Android Study Jam was very useful and informative. Thank you so much. Thanks to Chinmay for making it super awesome. Cool. Yeah, what is the deadline to submit the app? You have until midnight of today. You could reach out to us. Send a mail to team at team.dsc@rourkela.org. That will be mentioned in the banner soon.
yeah. If
So,
you can't mail, just message us in our Insta or FB or whatever. Okay,
hmm,
any kind of official communication with us will do. Okay,
yes.
the app does not have to be 100% ready, but just show us that you have taken a step and try to develop something.
So, again, I'm mentioning the deadline to submit is today of midnight. Any submissions after that would not be considered.
Like we will still be publishing the app, but you will not be eligible for the t-shirt and stuff. So just
Yeah,
to make it
so,
clear, yeah.
hmm. Yep, yep.
That's the publishing stuff is open year round. Just to be
Yeah, the
clear,
publishing,
yeah.
as in, like, it would be it is a part
Deployment,
of deploy
no,
kit. Yeah,
yeah.
deploy kit is available throughout the year. You could use it anytime of the day. But yeah, the GitHub sticker, I mean GitHub t-shirts and goodies, if you want to claim it, this is the today is the last day. Okay, cool. Moving on. Hmm, okay. Yeah, this is the question. Before jumping into any framework related to app dev, where should a complete beginner start such that you can sustain as a developer?
Yeah,
Ankesh?
I guess Ankesh will be
Okay.
taking this.
Okay. Okay. So starting with this question, uh, uh, let me start with the first part where a complete beginner should start. A complete beginner, if you are a complete beginner, first enjoy the coding experience. Go for framework, try any random things, enjoy that whole environment. Once you are a bit okay that I really enjoy this and I'm cool with coding and I want to continue with it, then you go for that second part of your question, that is sustain as a developer. This sustaining part requires a lot of things, like you are never going to work on same technology for years and years. It's always going to change. Like if we are working on Dart today, Dart is a new language, but maybe 10 years later there will be some other language, but the concept, the theory behind this is there are uh, there are OOPS concept, that is object oriented programming, and how to code. Uh, you need to write tests, you need to go for documentation. Those are the important things that you need to learn as a developer. So yeah, first enjoy as a complete beginner, then go think of sustaining as a developer. Sustaining part, I will not suggest to start right at the beginning, because uh, that requires a lot of theory, and those theory might be boring and you leave this before even starting with it. So yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah. Anybody
so
like?
and
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Anyone else like to add on top of it? I think what Ankesh told us very informative and well put. But still. Okay. Cool. Seems like that's hard. Moving on to the next question. Okay. I think this is something which everybody can be benefited from. I want to build an iOS app, but I don't have an iPhone. What do I do?
Yeah, basically you need at least a MacBook or an iPhone. Right. If you have an iPhone, you could do build the app on the cloud and get the IPA file and install it on your iPhone. Or if you have a MacBook, you could just run it inside the simulator. Other than that, the only option I see is you use services like macincloud.com, which give you access to Mac OS on the cloud with GUI as well, but they are paid services, so there's really no other alternative than being bound to the Apple ecosystem.
Wow.
There is, I think, a very brave alternative or a brave hack that we
A
can say.
brave hack. Okay.
We can actually run Mac OS on Linux. Smarak has tried it. I
Yeah,
have tried it.
actually, you can, yeah, you can
It
run it on Windows even by running it inside a virtual machine. But it takes
Yeah,
a lot of
virtual machine.
configuration, and you'll have to do a lot of things to get it working.
But, like theoretically, it will get you going, but it may not be the best experience, and you may not touch app development after that experience. Okay,
Uh,
so we would
But
rather
on Linux, actually, it is
pretty smooth.
pretty easy to set up the Mac OS virtual machine
Yeah,
than the process you have to follow to get it working on Windows. And also, Linux will be able to run it more smoothly. So, if you want
but
to, you can try that.
Yeah,
but
but
still it's
we
not gonna be a
personally we
very
haven't tried developing an app yet. So for iOS apps, there's Xcode, like it's the iOS equivalent of Android Studio, and we code in Swift. Swift is the language that
yeah,
we code in.
and
Okay.
also even if you have the VM running and all, but you would install Xcode. Xcode is a 8 GB download, and once it gets installed, it's gonna take up around more than 60 GB of space. So if you can spare that much, I guess you could just try coding in Xcode, but builds will not be very fast or
Yeah, they're
something
not
like
the
that.
best experience, but we are just saying a theoretical. So practically speaking, you can't develop an iOS app without having a MacBook. Okay. Sadly, that's the reason why I don't still have an app on App Store. Otherwise,
No,
Yeah.
I guess you still have to pay $99 every
you
year.
think money is an issue with me? I'm going to be damn rich.
Yeah, he's Chinmay Kavi.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
He's a gold digger. Okay.
And that's the what?
Sorry, that came
And
out
that's
wrong. My bad.
$99 per year for Android app. For Google Play Store, it's $25 flat fee for
Yeah,
lifetime.
for lifetime.
That's Android. That's Apple who is a gold digger, not me.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Talking about the monopoly which Apple is playing, that could be another discussion. Not right here, I believe. But yeah, I think people would have got the point of what they need to have if they want to make an iOS app. Um, Moving on. Okay, I think this is a good one. What can be an alternative for Firebase that can cover so many domains for mobile apps? Anyone want to take it? Who has used Firebase extensively?
Alternative for Firebase. There are alternatives like open source alternatives. Supabase is one, and there are lots of other individual services. Like you won't get everything under the same like the same unit like Firebase, but you could
Same.
theoretically use different services and get things working
Okay.
for free.
I
yeah.
mean, probably. Is there any reason why someone would want to go for an alternative of Firebase, apart from the pricing scheme or something? Is there anything, any other
Even the
services why?
pricing is very generous, I would say, for Firebase. I think.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, pretty
But
much.
apart from that, I think personal choices.
Yeah, let us try to target it step by step. So if you look at the authentication part of things, there are other alternatives that you can do for authentication. One of them, if you're doing on the web end of things, is you use passport.js. Or if you want to do it self-managed, you can directly use the SDK of whatever login mechanism you're trying to do. Uh, so either you can use Google's on sign in or any of those mechanisms. For databases, you can definitely choose other alternatives to Firebase. If you are an SQL developer, you can definitely use an SQL database. I personally do not know any free SQL service that is out there. I am not something that I'm not sure if something exists that is there for free SQL
Other
databases. There are
than
other.
yeah, other than basically if you have hosted it on your own server, self-hosted
Yeah.
one.
For NoSQL, there are multiple databases out there which you can use for free. One of them is MongoDB. There's other that is pretty much being prevalent in the recent days at MLH hackathons. That is CockroachDB. It's also nice. Uh, the advantage if you have MongoDB is that MongoDB has a lot of Firebase-like functionalities which have a free tier. The free tier is not as good as Firebase. It is sufficient for creating an MVP of your product or for a hackathon. So MongoDB has a thing wherein you upload the database and you directly get a GraphQL API out of it. You have Firebase Cloud Function equivalent known as MongoDB Realm, which does a lot of things. And so that is the kind of database of things. But the other few things that Firebase offers, like dynamic links and sending FCM notification, those are something which can be done without Firebase, but doing them extensively using the Android APIs are kind of difficult. The reason why Firebase is so prevalent is because it is managed directly by Google, which in turn manages the Android development side of things. So a lot of Android specific things to integrate your features into the app is provided under the hood from Firebase. So that is the advantage that you have at Firebase. For hosting websites, if you're looking for an alternative, you can definitely host websites at sites like Netlify, GitHub Pages, Heroku, or any of the hosting platforms. All of these have got their own free tiers, and if you want to have something that is not covered in the free tier, try to leverage the student pack that you get from GitHub. Those should be more than sufficient. And coming to analytics side of things,
Can I add one
if you
more?
want, yeah, sure, Harish.
Yeah, if you want to know more free stuff that you can get as a student, follow our free series of like Hack and ITR. Like go to our
Nice,
Instagram. Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, we have
Yeah,
an
this
entire
is
Instagram
basically
series,
a
which is we have an
yes.
entire Instagram series which is covering all the things that you can get for free using our institute ID or student ID as long as you are a university student. So do leverage that opportunity because you are a student and it comes with some of the additional perks. So leverage that when you're a developer and it actually helps a lot. And for analytics part of things, if you don't want to use Firebase, you can directly use Google Analytics. Or there are almost all companies that have got their own analytics service. You just import few snippets into your code and things can be tracked. So it's up to you which of the services that you want to do. Uh, if you want to do something which is super privacy respective, there are alternatives. I'm not sure the name of the alternative. I will put the privacy intensive alternative in the chat. I am not remembering it right now. I'll put it in the chat for you to refer it. So that is pretty much of the possible alternatives. But yeah, there is no one-stop solution to Firebase alternative. You will have to use multiple services together.
Yeah. One thing I would just like to add, like, so one thing that you must have seen is that we can't have another service which fits or ticks all the boxes that Firebase does. So why is that the issue? Okay, the thing is there are some things like real-time databases and Firebase cloud messaging, in-app messaging, and stuff like that. So they are irreplaceable. Okay, even if a company like Apple or Amazon tries to emulate them, they have to go through Google. They have to use the Firebase ID, okay? Because in Android, there is something called the Play framework. Okay, the Play Store that you see, it's not as innocent as it looks like. So all the background stuff is actually handled by the Play framework, all the updates, all the notifications that you get in background and stuff like that. So, and that's the only way that you can reliably deliver notifications or data to any Android phone. What the Play framework does is that it provides a real-time connection between the Android, your individual device, and the servers, and Google, and between the Android device and the Google servers. And if you have to send a notification, let us say, you have to use Google servers. You cannot send it on your own, at least not reliably. Okay, and if you try to have something jugad like a webhook or something, it's going to drain a lot of battery. Okay, so that's one of the like Google has the upper hand here, so it can actually afford to bundle everything together. Okay, but something like even Amazon does not have a alternative to that till date. So that's the technical side of things. Why there's no parallel between Firebase and something else? Yeah, just
Okay, okay. Never
Okay, I will.
mind.
Yeah, can I add something? Like there
yeah,
is
man, sure.
Microsoft offering like the Azure thing. So they have some of the equivalents like the SQL database and real-time message syncing and all, and also the login thing. But they are pretty pricey and they work well with the Xamarin framework that Microsoft offers from their side of view. So if you are from native, so it won't scale that much like properly.
Yeah, and Xamarin is not a framework that is recommended a lot.
It's by Microsoft,
Even
right?
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah.
even Microsoft does not develop apps on Xamarin. It uses React Native. Wait, it Ankesh can actually, yeah, he's placed in Microsoft, so I think he can tell us what does
Hmm.
Microsoft use. I don't think they use Xamarin,
Uh,
do they?
yeah, for apps I know about the Office app. That that can open all Word and everything there. That is using React. So that's what
Yeah,
Microsoft is doing
React
right now.
Native.
Yeah.
Yeah, so even they
Yeah,
aren't using
even
Xamarin, so
Microsoft
why should
Teams is would be on React Native, I guess.
y-
What?
yeah, Teams is on React. Skype
Microsoft Teams.
is yeah,
Microsoft Teams.
yeah, Microsoft Skype, which used to be used by people, that is actually built on a customized version of React Native. Okay, like Microsoft built their own framework. They tweaked the React Native framework a bit and used it to their own benefit. So that's a little known trivia for you right there. So yeah, Xamarin not so much in use anymore.
Okay, okay, cool. Next question.
Flutter.
Can I start with Flutter as a beginner? Even personally, some juniors had asked me, so I want to start with app development, and Flutter is cool in the market. So can I just jump into it?
Yeah, I would like
I
to
think.
take this. See,
Sure.
Dart is a quite beginner-friendly language if you want to have something like that. Yeah, Dart is also strongly typed, and Flutter uses Dart for implementing stuff. So if you want to just get started with something and explore stuff later, I guess you could do it with Dart and Flutter. Also,
No,
like you will get to build apps in short time, and you could see results earlier. But also, if you want to do native Android, and you can also do with Java and start with it.
I think this question has many interpretations. Like as a beginner, beginning with the coding or beginning with app development. Okay, so I think that's the thing. So if you are starting with coding itself, I think what is Ankesh, I think Ankesh has covered that pretty sometime earlier, I guess. So if you're starting with coding, we will recommend against starting out with Flutter. Rather, start with the basic OOPS concept, which Ankesh has already told, and some more popular languages like Python or Java or C++ should be the first language that you learn the concepts on. After that, if you want to delve into app development, then Flutter is a viable option. It's not the necessary option, it's a viable option, yeah, as Smart said.
Yeah, I agree to that. Even I started programming with C++ at school, and that's how. And I'm happy that I started with C++. And now, if you want to get into app development, you could totally start with Flutter as a beginner.
Yeah, and there's also another path that you can take, and that is you can develop in like you can learn in Java. Java is a pretty widely used language till date. Don't know why, but it still is. And you can actually code apps in Android using Java. Okay, so if you want to take that curve, that's also an option for you. Like you learn in Java the basic concepts, then you jump into app development using Java itself. So that's a good track that you can take as well. So it's nothing like if you start with Flutter, you will be at a disadvantage, or if you will start with native Android, you will be like you will miss out on something. Okay, the more important thing is to just start somewhere.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, that is. I personally feel that's what important. Like not getting yourself confused and not being able to start anywhere is worse. So you just start somewhere and work your way towards the perfect or ideal thing which you claim it to. Okay, cool. Moving on. Next question. We only have three more questions. Yeah, cool, awesome. Have been a Java developer for Android. What advantage Kotlin has and how difficult is the switch?
I guess Sachin would like to answer this
Sachin.
since he's a guy.
Okay, so first one is Java to Kotlin switch is not that hard, I guess. It's easy. Like both the syntax are kind of familiar, and like Kotlin has this syntactical trigger. If you are into Java and doing some kind of thread thing, so you have to implement runnable, and then you have to override the run method inside it. So in Kotlin, you just have to write one method, just dot launch. That's all. So it's very easy on syntax. And next, coming to the big thing, it is null safety. So in Java, you have to like check the null thing, like annotate with not nullable, and nullable. So in Kotlin, you just do it with a simple question mark. So that's it. And also Java, Kotlin provides some of the classes there. Those are like new, like they are kind of new in JDK 14 and 15. They are also in beta currently. So there are like data classes, and also there are like uh, our something which like implements the enum thing that we call the states or something, I guess, if I'm not wrong. Hey Smarak, can you like remind me that thing was?
What are, I don't quite get you. Which one?
The enum thing, like you asked about the enum thing, that something was there, like which kinds of
Sealed
behave
classes.
more.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I guess
sealed
you're
classes.
talking
We
about
have
sealed
sealed
classes.
classes, which more of an extension of enums, so you can quietly use them. So that those are the three big advantages. And yes, yeah.
Also, one more lame advantage is that Kotlin is now recognized by Google as the go-to programming language for Android development. Java is still maintained, but it's Kotlin all the way in the near future at least. Okay, so that gives you another advantage. And even companies today are looking for more for when they look for the Android developers, they're actually looking for Kotlin developers. So yeah.
Okay, that is actually great. Seems like if you have a good hands-on experience on Kotlin, you can get a job comparatively easily. Cool. Yeah, I think this is an interesting question. How to explore APIs that don't have sufficient information? So for a web developer, probably he can figure out some stuff, do some tweaks on the back end or something to manipulate the APIs. But for an app, like usually an app which is primarily focused on UI and getting the content and just displaying it nicely. So if you're that guy who wants to do something and the documentation is not there, well, how do you even approach this? I think Sachin is the right person to answer this.
Yeah, because the
Yeah,
secret
because
project
he
he's
has
working
done
on has very bad documentation.
Hmm.
Like
There will be some
it
sort
has
of
negative documentation.
yeah, there will be some sort of documentation, like not on the API, but how the things will work. Like the web thing, like you said, you can always go check the web thing. So that will be a great way to getting started with the things. And eventually, you have to try the hit and trial thing. So if it works, it works. If it don't work, so you have to dig out some GitHub, GitHub and Stacks Overflow, like which will be like pretty old. Yeah, that was all, I guess. Anyone else has something to say?
Basically going
um,
out on a wild hunt, I believe, or
yeah,
hoping that
that's
some guy has made
what
a
you'll
video
have to
on
do.
YouTube about it.
Yeah, it
If
depends. Like
nothing
you
works,
can maybe
you
find another app which is on GitHub, the code of which is on GitHub, and he has actually used the same API. Oh, that's one way. Other way is that if you are experienced enough, you can actually make sense of many of the things you can actually map, like which data should go to which functionality of your app. That's one thing. Uh, there's not much you can do rather than hit and trial. I don't think there's much we can
yeah,
do.
and learn,
Yeah,
and users can learn one thing from your write good documentation when we do
yeah.
coding.
Don't pass on this to your future generation.
Yeah, if you're really that passionate developer, once figuring out, make sure you write the documentation for that thing which you have spent. I mean, spent all the time figuring out. Maybe that will help the other developers who might be looking out just like you. Awesome, cool. And okay, we have one last question. What testing framework would you suggest for Flutter?
Yeah, this is the most beautiful thing that Flutter has. You don't need to go for find some other testing frameworks. Flutter SDK ships with its own testing framework, which is quite self-sufficient. You can do almost any kind of testing you want using the Flutter SDK only.
Okay. I can
Uh,
see why you
uh,
have so much fun.
yeah.
Fun.
So also, it is said that Flutter was built to do testing in mind, right, Smarak? That's what Smarak tells me at least. So could you just explain that a bit? Why?
Um,
Like there's no excuse not to test, is what he likes to say. So could you just explain
Yeah,
why is
yeah.
that? Yeah.
Basically, that whatever I said right now. See, in a lot of languages, like for example, if you take Node.js, you'll have to add a package for for testing Node.js like Mocha or Chai, and then you have to learn how to do that. Yep. And if you want to go into Java or Kotlin testing, you'll have to they have the Espresso unit testing framework and other I don't really know all the names, but they have some. You'll have to add the dependencies, and I've seen a little bit of the testing code, and like it didn't seem very intuitive. But with Flutter, you have a very good testing framework. It feels intuitive. You can easily write tests, and and it comes with the SDK. So if you already have Flutter on your system, you also have the testing framework with you. So really, there's no excuse to not test the code you are writing.
Yeah. It's not just app or Flutter. If you even if you write a little bit piece of code and it's a constantly a work in progress kind of project, you definitely need testing. Yeah, because I've experienced it myself. Mark has been telling, bro, write test. It's really important because you don't know. You are trying to add a feature and you're thinking, okay, let me change at these places. But the moment you do that, the other things will fall apart without you even realizing it. So that's where the tests are really helpful. They just make sure that you have everything in place and everything works the way it's supposed to work. So
Yeah, because I would just like to say this because, yeah, like if there's something called test-driven development. So in that, what you do is if you have something in mind, you like want to write the logic for it. So you have some expectations out of the logic you will be writing. So using tests, you define your expectations first, and then you write the logic to implement to make the test pass so that the logic meets your expectations. And if you have a passing test, you are quite sure that you have written the correct code. And if you change it anytime in the future, you'll have a guard standing for you to tell that yes, this is correct, or if the test fails, you know that the logic you implemented is wrong,
yep,
and you can
totally
refactor it.
agree with you. Huh. And also, I guess this test that we write is a constant reminder of what we're trying to build, so that we don't deviate from our goal. I think that is also a good thing about writing tests, I believe. Okay, cool. I think this question is answered. The final question for today's session: is there any framework where we could do app development using Python? Yeah, anybody want to
Yeah,
take it over?
I'm not a pro Python developer, but I can speak bits about it. I suppose Harish also knows a bit of Python. So Python can be used to. Let me first speak about Python in general. So Python can be used to build awesome machine learning models and backend using Django. But the support for Python for frontend is not the best. You can use Python libraries and packages to build frontend, but that is not the most utilized package in the web right now. So what teams do when they have Python developers is the ideal, not the ideal, the most commonly used set is that they use Django for the backend and they use React for the front end. So a good example of that would be Pinterest. So the Pinterest website that you see is built completely on Django backend and React for the front end, and the app is based on React Native. Even if you don't know React Native, for the very basics, you can do Django backend, you can do React or any of the front end frameworks that you want to use, and you build a PWA or a web app and you ship it for the initial days, and then you later switch to a mobile app development framework. So if you are a Python developer, I'm not really sure of using it directly for developing apps. So you can use it to create backend APIs, and for basic websites, for the very basic websites, you can use templating engines like Jinja. But for full-fledged websites, I'm sure there are other packages out there as well. Harish, by any chance, do you know any
I
front-end
happen
Python
to know,
packages?
I mean, I've just heard these packages like Kiwi, PyQt, and Toga. So these are
Yeah,
some
Yeah,
like
even
very,
Kiwi, I've heard
yeah,
about
you
that.
can make using Kiwi,
yeah.
but if you are ready, no, that won't give you the best out of Android. No.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
that is something. What
you
is your
can
goal?
maybe do a simple proof of concept, something like
Yeah,
that.
but if
Simple app, very
if
simple app.
if if you just want to proof of you to want to make a proof of concept, I rather say you take a look at something called Google App Sheets. I guess App Sheets, right? Where you can actually generate apps from Google Sheets. That may
Google.
sound a bit
And
like wizardry, but actually you can. Okay.
just adding on, the pricing of Google App Sheet is a bit pricey. So just take a look at it. And if you want some alternative, one possible alternative is Glide Apps. It's Glide Apps. Glide Apps has a really good free plan, and you can actually use it to show what your app is going to do for the initial few days. Like pretty much a large chunk of the database can be managed using Google Sheets for the very few days when you are
Yeah.
pitching your idea to someone. So do keep that in mind, that you can leverage these platforms to actually show the customers or the test users what your app is going to look like without actually developing the entire thing up from scratch and then modifying it. So these actually help a lot.
And you don't need any coding background for this. Okay, it's very simple using Google App Sheets and Glide. Okay.
Yeah, that's really brand new information even for me. I didn't know that you could just make an app out of Google Sheets. That sounds so
Yeah.
cool. So that is an option which you might want to explore. I think the question was asked by Jenny Xors. So yeah, that is an option. Feel free to explore. And I believe the best way for you, I would suggest. I mean, if I were you, would probably going with the PWA as able Matthew mentioned. I think that is a win-win situation. You could just make the website out of it and have a PWA, right, so that it works well with the mobile as well. Okay, that is our final question for today. Okay, let me stop the presentation. Yes. Okay, that has been a really good session. Okay. Okay, it was 1 hour. Okay, I didn't even feel the time passing by. That was really cool. Yeah, hope you got all of your questions answered by us, and yeah, feel free to add something more to the answers, or if you felt that okay, there is something wrong with your response or something, always feel free to reach out to us, and put the right word out there. And I think this would be the conclusion of today's session. Hope you had a good time like me. And it was really nice having all the people from that app team of DSC NIT over here. Okay. Anything, anybody else want to add anything more? Chinmay, Abel?
No, that is pretty much it. Thanks again, once again, for joining. And thanks for joining to confirm the claim of badges and for shipping the stickers and to get your addresses and all those details. DM us on Instagram, Twitter, mail, or any of the platforms that you feel comfortable DMing or contacting us on. And we would collect your details so that we can have the sticker shipped out to you. The stickers would be shipped out starting the month end, this month end. So it will take a bit amount of time, but it will definitely reach your home. So don't worry about that.
Yep. Don't worry about the stickers. If just text us on Instagram, it's just a confirmation so that we know who you are, and probably we'll use that platform to get your address and shipping information if we are going to send the stickers. So yeah, it was a really great session. Good night. Have a good one, guys. Bye bye.
Bye. Good night.
Hmm.
Goodbye.